Everybody, welcome to the Tuesday Talk. As you know, these are going to be short little videos where we kind of dig into a chapter of a book of the Bible and kind of going through books of the Bible kind of systematically, week by week, going through a book each day. So these last couple weeks we've been talking about the book of Jonah. We are on Jonah chapter 4 today, actually the last chapter of Jonah. So we'll hop into another book next week. I don't know what that's going to be yet, but we'll talk about Jonah chapter 4 for today. So like I said last time, I'm not going to read the entire chapter. Let's read a section out of it, and then I encourage you to take some time before or after watching this video to read the rest of that chapter. So for today, I'm going to only read Jonah chapter 4 verses 1 and 2. So I encourage you, if you have a Bible, find it, open it up to Jonah chapter 4, and we can read this together, starting at verse 1. But it displeased Jonah exceedingly, and he was angry. So this is right after, a little bit of context here, this is right after the people of Nineveh have repented. We talked about repentance last week, asking for forgiveness. We talked about all those kind of things. And this is right after that happens. And Jonah's not very happy that God has relented of the disaster he was going to have befall the Ninevites because of their repentance. Jonah's not happy with that. So he continues in verse 2. And he prayed to the Lord, and he said, O Lord, is not this what I said when I was yet in my country? That is why I made haste to flee to Tarshish, for I knew you are a gracious God and merciful, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love and relenting from disaster. So Jonah lists out all these things that we would probably consider good things. These are not bad characteristics to have. We want people to be merciful. We want people to be kind. We want God especially to be kind and merciful, right? But Jonah's not very happy about it. Jonah's actually quite angry that God is treating the people of Nineveh this way. You see, Jonah doesn't actually forgive the people of Nineveh. He goes and he preaches the message that he's supposed to preach. He preaches the message that he feels like he has to do, but he doesn't actually forgive the people of Nineveh. His perception, his opinion of them doesn't really shift all that much. We see that in how he even talks to the Ninevites. I mean, he goes into the city. He goes one day into a 3-day wide city, and he says a one-sentence long sermon intended to completely change a group of people. And it works because the power of God and the grace of that he has and the amazing gift that is. But Jonah's heart's not changed in his regard for the people of Nineveh. Like last week, we talked about repentance. We talked about asking for forgiveness. And this week, we're going to be talking about forgiving the people around us, giving that forgiveness away. And when we see this verse, Jonah gives us a great example of what not to do. Jonah does what he feels like he has to. He says, oh, I'm sorry. He says it in that kind of way where you just know it's not really intentional. I mean, he kind of excuses it away. I mean, even here he says, I knew what you were going to do. That's why I tried to go to Tarshish in the first place, because I knew what you were going to do. He tries to kind of excuse away his apology. He doesn't really offer forgiveness. He just says, I guess I forgive you, or I guess I need forgiveness. He doesn't really own it. He doesn't really have a change of heart. And that's the thing about forgiveness, is to really recognize forgiving others and forgiving and what it means to really forgive somebody. It's a really challenging thing to do. Last we talked about how forgiveness is not asking for forgiveness. It's not as easily as just saying, hey, can you forgive me? It's about really recognizing and humbling yourself and just owning the mistakes that you've made, recognizing those mistakes, and asking for specific forgiveness for those mistakes. When it comes to actually forgiving someone, though, it's kind of a flip-flop thing. You have to recognize the pain that somebody's caused to you, the anger, the frustration, the injury that's been caused, so that you can actually recognize how to forgive them and what you're forgiving them for. That's a really important step when it comes to forgiveness, because if you just forgive offhandedly, you end up like Jonah, where Jonah says the right things, he does the right things, but the actual change in his heart is not there. The anger is still present. The anger towards his people of Nineveh is still very prevalent. I mean, he's so angry that he's yelling at God and complaining that God's merciful. He's so mad that the Ninevites have been spared. So whenever we offer forgiveness, whenever we ask for forgiveness, the important thing is to humble ourselves, to recognize that we're broken, sinful human beings on both sides, if we're offering or giving forgiveness, or asking for it. These are both places where we have to recognize the sin that we live in. And then the other important thing is to be open and honest about what it is that we are either asking forgiveness for or giving forgiveness for. If someone's hurt you, you don't want to just be like, oh, it's okay, it's fine. Because it's not okay, it's not fine. The mistakes that they've made are not okay, it's not fine. If somebody hurts you in some way, it's not okay that they hurt you. You have to be open and honest about that fact. The thing is about forgiveness, it's not about so much saying it's okay. It's about saying, okay, that thing that you did was not okay, but I'm not going to hold it against you for the rest of our lives. And I'm not going to hold on to the pain that you caused me for the rest of my life. That's almost what it's also, forgiveness is not just about the other person, it's also about yourself. It's about unhooking this injury, this pain that's been caused to you and saying, okay, that thing happened and it was not a good thing to have happen. It was painful, it hurt, but I'm not going to dwell on it anymore. I'm going to say, okay, that was in the past. I've forgiven it. I've moved on. So that's the lesson that Jonah here. Jonah doesn't really move on. Jonah sticks stuck in this hatred for Nineveh and in this place, and it leads him to do some silly things. And God tries to get through to him a couple of times, but we don't really know what happens to Jonah. We don't really hear much from him in the rest of the Bible, and all we can go on is based on this story. So I encourage you this week and next week and for the rest of our lives as we go about forgiving and asking for forgiveness, humble ourselves, be honest about what's the pain we've caused or the pain that we are forgiving, and be realistic about what we're doing. Recognize the pain and acknowledge it, and then that's where real true healing and forgiveness can happen. So that's the Tuesday talk as we talk about the book of Jonah, forgiveness, repentance, all those amazing things. And I pray that you guys continue to spend some time with the book of Jonah, and we get into whatever book it is next week that we start with on next Tuesday. And I will see you back then. Thanks. Bye-bye.